Have you ever been on a date with somebody who overshared? Or do you overshare on dates? In today's video, I am going to discuss what oversharing means, why it can be a problem in dating, and what we can do about it. So first, let's talk about what is oversharing and why is it a problem? Well, many people tend to get really deep before they know somebody well. Like on a first date, they go into really deep topics and they share about family stuff from their childhood, crazy parents, an eating disorder, diabetes, talk about past relationships, exes, finances, past trauma. All this stuff comes up, right? People just start talking. Why is this a problem? Well, it's debatable. I have a friend who used to tell me it's not a problem for me. In fact, I want to know everything right away so I can know whether I want to date somebody. But to me, it's not as black and white as this. We actually don't usually want to know everything about a person before we like them, before we really know them. It's a boundary crossing when you overshare because you're dumping your issues on the table before you even know that person, before they have even earned your stories and you have earned their trust. The boundary crossing happens because you have crossed over into territory that you don't yet have access to. You don't know each other. You don't trust each other. So why do they need to hear that you had cancer or that you had a double mastectomy or whatever else you're sharing on a first date? Because believe it or not, people share all this stuff way too soon. And I've had men share with me that they have kidney stones, diabetes, all these things. And another thing that happens when you overshare or somebody overshares with you is that you can turn somebody off. They can feel like they're going to be your caretaker, you're going to be theirs. Like it just sounds like a lot of heaviness, right? We don't know each other well yet. If you were to get to know this person and like this person, then of course you're going to accept all of them. You're going to be able to hear all the stuff, the hard stuff and the good stuff. But if they share too much too soon, we wonder, are they still not healed from past relationships? Do they lead with their illnesses because that's who they think they are? They are diabetes. They are whatever it is that they're talking about. Or are they bigger than just something that happened to them? Are they able to share their passions and connect on the good stuff? When we're still really healing, we tend to connect on our wounds, on the hard things. And believe me, I've done it. I did it with girlfriends, I did it with guys, and I had to learn the hard way that it's not something that's going to really lead to a great relationship usually because it's too much too soon. So let's talk about why people overshare. Most people overshare because they're anxious and they worry that the other person won't be attracted to you, you won't be impressive enough, and you won't be interesting enough. So you tend to share way too much. What do we usually overshare about? There are three main things we tend to overshare about. Number one, past relationships. So whether it's talking about your ex or exes, talking badly about the person that you broke up with or that you had been married to, or talking even in a good way about a loss. Let's say you're widowed and you talk the entire time about your spouse. These are all ways that we can disconnect from the person in front of us because they don't know us well to know these stories, and then they can make up things about us because they hear these things from us. The second thing we tend to overshare about is finances. I don't know if you've ever been on a date with somebody who's told you about the fact that their ex wiped them out. Money, no money, they have to rebuild their wealth and they are living off of nothing, they have nothing. I mean, while you may want to know that at some point very soon, talking about it and leading with that is a sign that they're still processing it. And the third thing that people tend to share too much about at the beginning is past trauma. And that includes illnesses, family trauma, eating disorders, any kind of addiction, any kind of past trauma that they've had, to bring that to the table right away is too much too soon. So, what do you do if you tend to overshare? And then we'll talk in a minute about what to do if your date tends to overshare. One of the things that I love about Brene Brown, and there are many, many things I love about her, but she says that people need to earn your stories. And I agree. What does that mean? It means that before you know somebody, you have to you have to be careful about what you share with them. And she used to compare it to a string of lights, that as you have like twinkle lights, like at a like Christmas lights, and when you are getting to know somebody and earning their trust, you can turn one little light on at a time until you have this beautiful string of lights, and it's all built on one act of kindness or whatever it is that you now have bounded, you're now bound to this person by all the lovely things that you have done for each other. And that's how we build our stories. So I want you to be an onion. I want you to peel back your layers one by one. As you begin to build trust, you can peel another layer slowly and steadily. I want you to prepare in advance what you want to share and how you want to share it. And this is something I go into with my clients, and I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now, but you can script little scripts of, like, somebody asks you about your past relationships, and you can just say it very succinctly when you don't know somebody well. Let's say, why did you get divorced? Really wanted to make it work. Unfortunately, we drifted apart and weren't able to salvage the relationship. And now I'm ready to find love again. How about you? We're not talking about what went wrong. We're not giving any of the details. We're just saying, I really hoped it would work, because who gets married and hopes it doesn't? Unfortunately, it didn't work. And now I'm ready to open my heart to love again. That's it. Right? So that's step one. Now, if you got to know him better, you might want to share a little bit more about some of the emotional abuse you might have had in the relationship, or the fact that one of you cheated. These are not things that come out in the beginning because you don't know each other well enough. People tend to judge you also based on what you say in the beginning before they know and like you and trust you. And so just imagine if you share it slowly, and now they already like you and know you, and they're not going to falsely judge your character based on something you might say on a first date. So what do you do when your date overshares? I suggest you set a boundary. You can tell them that you don't feel comfortable hearing about whatever they're talking about right now. Or you can ask them a question, and this is something my son has shared with me, which I love. And you can say, what does your therapist have to say about that? Puts the ownership on them. They may not have a therapist, but you are not their therapist. You do not have to sit and listen to somebody complain about their ex, tell you about all their past trauma or their money issues or anything else that they're laying on you before they know you. Most of us don't realize that we're sharing too much too soon, and that we might turn off the people that we like. So be an onion, peel back your layers one at a time so you slowly get to know the person you're dating. And when trust and affection grow and develop, then you can reveal more of the deeper stuff, the harder stuff. But in the beginning, I want you to connect on the good stuff, your passions, your dreams, and what makes you laugh, because laughter is so much sexier than debt.